Bust from, and I want to use a tweet from one of your personal role models in government, AOC, Congressman. She tweeted Friday evening, "It's appalling that far-right politicians seem to have decided that fall before an election is their regularly scheduled time to commit crimes against humanity on refugees." It wasn't a crime when Joe Biden was flying them into the middle of the night into Westchester Airport, was it?
Crimes against humanity. That's interesting that Ms. Ocasio-Cortez says that. You know what? These liberals, Carl, can cry me a bloody river. 50 migrants to Martha's Vineyard, 1,000 to New York City, and 10,000 to D.C. Yeah. And they say, oh, my God, this is a humanitarian crisis. How about 300,000 a month in Texas? I mean, we're looking from April to August to tell the tape. In April, it was 234,000 illegal border crossers, which was 1,258% worse, Carl, than the last April President Trump was in office. And May was 240,000 nearly, and that was 930% worse than the last May that President Trump was in office. We're looking at probably 1.5 million just from April to August, and they're freaking out over 1,000 going to New York City and 50 to Martha's Vineyard. Yeah. If the liberals didn't have a double standard, they would have no standards at all.
100%. So AOC's point is, this is terrible. This is a human rights violation. But if we go over to our reliable sources over at MSNBC, this was their response. I want to roll what the immigrants actually think of what their situation is. Do we have that?
They left here a few minutes ago. They moved to Cape Cod, to the Joint Base in Cape Cod, with new clothes, new cell phones, haven't talked to lawyers for the first time, and saying that they were actually brought to paradise.
Sounds super human rights-y, violation-y to me, right?
So they're fed, they're clothed, they're sheltered, they're given a new cell phone, an attorney, and that's a humanitarian crisis. I find it interesting, like fellows like Aaron Melnick from the American Immigration Council, very left-wing outfit, saying that this is horrific. They don't have the resources to support this in Martha's Vineyard. We have a $30 trillion debt. As a nation, we do not have the resources. Yeah. And we don't even have the capacity to support, really, we don't even know how many it's going to be now under Biden, Carl. 3 million, 4 million, 5 million illegal border crossings in a given year. We've never even seen 2 million. And he's blowing it out of the water because there is a de facto open border. So, yes, we don't have, Aaron, you're right. It is. We don't have the resources. That's why we need to secure our border and keep people in their home countries while their cases are adjudicated.
No part of their solution was, we don't have the resources, we need to secure the southern border. We need to keep them in Texas. And Jeffrey Lord brought up a great point this morning. I mean, phenomenal point. I can't believe nobody has made this across any network. Barack Obama brought in a massive tent to have this huge party during COVID with no masks, and that tent is large enough to house potentially hundreds of these migrants. No one wanted to do that. Instead, they brought in 125 armed National Guardsmen to hustle these people out. Martha's Vineyard now has a 100% deportation rate, and you're the bad guy, Congressman.
You know what? I believe Obama's party for his birthday had 500 people he hosted. So 50 migrants would fit under a tent of 500 easily. In fact, he should have offered it because I believe he has a multi-acre estate, so it shouldn't be any problem at all.
Yeah, I believe it's 14 acres, which is a lot of land, especially for Martha's Vineyard. Now, you're a member of the House Armed Services Committee. You're along with other members of Congress are worrying about Biden's plan to cancel $10,000 of student loan debt. We've been talking about this, but it's kind of been washed aside. You know, this is for people making under 125 grand a year, which is a decent amount of money. I mean, that's like double the national average of salary. Now, Congressman, they're worried about inflation. They have the Inflation Reduction Act, yet they light money on fire and flush the ashes down the toilet. I mean, this is like really, at some level, do you think this is going to affect, impact of recruitment on the military for the GI Bill, but also the fact that, like, we can't afford this?
Yeah, Carl, you're absolutely right. First of all, we cannot afford it. And it's not only if you make $125,000, but if you're a married couple, it's $250,000. And this is my concern, being on the Armed Services Committee. Most people don't know, because the administration is trying to, sweep this under the rug, that the military has not reached their recruiting goals this year. The Army was 20,000 recruits light. The Navy only reached 89% of the recruiting goal, and our Air Force was thousands short as well. And as we know, one of the things that attracts talent the most for the military are educational benefits. The GI Bill has been a wild success over the decades.
Yep.
And even if you've already had your education, there's loan forgiveness that can be earned. Now, that's a key point, earned if you serve in the military. But Joe Biden comes in and says, you know what, you don't have to do a cotton picking thing. You can just sit there, do nothing, and we're going to give you up to $20,000 because he's pandering for votes right before midterm.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And all these recruiting numbers being down was during the year that Top Gun 2 was released, which the last time Top Gun 1 was released, recruiting went off the chart. So, Congressman Pat Fallon, always a pleasure, sir. Appreciate being here.
Carl, God bless.
All right. Folks, thousands still in queue to pass Queen Elizabeth's coffin. Her funeral is going to be tomorrow.